Smallpox, the major variola virus. Written, drawn, and directed by Francia Fang, Helen Gaines, Ariel Cantor, and Nathan Klima. Smallpox has two strands, one major and one minor. This video focuses solely on the major variola virus. The smallpox virus is a double-stranded DNA virus with two envelopes. The outer envelope is green, and the inner envelope is red. The inner envelope contains the organelles and the double-stranded DNA. The variola virus is a large brick-shaped virus being 360 by 270 by 250 nanometers and contains a hairpin loop at each end. Furthermore, smallpox is a pox virus, and in replication, it produces a variety of specialized proteins not produced by other DNA viruses, the most important of which is the viral-associated DNA-dependent RNA polymerase. Unlike other DNA viruses, the variola virus multiplies in the cytoplasm of parasitized host cells. In 1945, smallpox was present in about 50% of the world and had a 30% mortality rate. Thankfully, smallpox was eradicated in 1980 by the World Health Organization. Since this disease was eradicated, it is not prevalent in any part of the world and there is no rate of infection. Smallpox is found only in humans and has no other non-human hosts. Currently, there are no people infected with this disease. It is kept in vials in BSL, Biosafety Level 4, facilities worldwide. Prior to 1980, smallpox was a highly contagious and deadly disease. It could be transmitted through direct deposition of large, infective, airborne droplets of saliva into the nasal, oral, and pharyngeal mucosal membranes during face-to-face contact. Smallpox invades various areas of the body, including skin cells, the mouth, throat, and multiplies in the lymph nodes. This pathogen inflicts the majority of its damage by lysing infected cells in the bloodstream. These result in the characteristic boils that appear all over the body. There is a 12-day period from incubation to symptoms, after which there are visible lesions on the tongue and the mouth. The throat begins to rapidly enlarge, and then it releases viruses into the saliva. The second wave multiplies in the bone marrow, the spleen, and lymph nodes. In its other symptoms, smallpox is originally very similar to other viruses, such as the common flu. During the last stages of smallpox, huge boils appear all over the skin. They are mainly focused in the arms, legs, and faces. Pictures of people with smallpox are extremely shocking, and they have the scars from the boils for the rest of their lives. Other symptoms and signs are similar to other flu-like symptoms, such as vomiting, fevers, headaches, and severe fatigue. The variola virus affects the immune system in many ways, but the most common is the antibodies that are produced. These antibodies are specific to many different viral proteins and can result in the lysis of the infected cells or combine with antigens to produce immune complexes. Cellular immunity and humoral immunity are elicited in response to variola infection. Cell-mediated immunity likely plays an important role in controlling the disease. Virus-specific cytotoxic T cells are detectable in the lymph node organs as early as 4 days after infection. These cytotoxic T cells are believed to limit viral spread by causing lysis of infected cells in the skin. The relative importance of the cellular immune response against smallpox has been demonstrated in animals. Studies show that mice with defected T cells are able to generate normal humoral responses to a viral challenge. Studies in rodents and sheep have demonstrated memory in the form of virus-specific cytotoxic lymphocyte immune responses that occur long after the initial variola infection. Because of potential bioterrorism, interest in smallpox pathogenesis has increased. Protein analysis indicates that the variola virus G1R protein binds to cellular nuclear factor kappa B, thereby inhibiting its function in cell signaling. The following, along with a humoral response, develops active immunity against smallpox, therefore serving as a vaccine. There is currently no treatment for smallpox, as it is not needed due to smallpox being eradicated worldwide. However, there is a vaccine for smallpox, but not everyone is required to receive it. The smallpox vaccine is unique. Instead of being pricked once, the patient is pricked several times in a few seconds. These pricks are not deep, but it does cause the patient to bleed. After receiving the vaccine, you are protected from smallpox for up to 10 years. Currently, laboratories in Russia and United States are the only places that contain the smallpox virus. In the case of a smallpox outbreak, the infected people would be quarantined and kept away from the rest of the general public. They would receive the medical care they needed, and anyone living around the exposed area would receive the smallpox vaccine. The news of the outbreak would be televised, and in newspapers, on the radio, and all over social media to ensure everyone takes the necessary precautions. Smallpox was first brought over to the Americas by European settlers during the early 1600s. It killed thousands of Native Americans who were previously unexposed to any virus of this magnitude. An estimated 25 to 50% of Native Americans during the 1600s to 1700s died of smallpox. Once Europeans realized what effect smallpox could have on the natives, they sometimes deliberately gave smallpox-infected blankets to other Native Americans in the hopes that they would catch the virus and die. Smallpox, the major variola virus, has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people in the past few centuries. It was lethal and easily spread from person to person. Thankfully, it was eradicated, and the remaining strands are locked up in secure laboratory settings. Have no fear, smallpox isn't here. If it is seen, you should get a vaccine.